public video my opinion about what Dear Ann Landers. This is from when I was a Dear Ann Landers was a like Dear Abby in a newspaper, the Miami Herald. This story reads, mother and daughter-in-law problem. Ex-daughter-in-law, I guess. Dear Ann, I have been divorced for 3 years and have a 5-year-old son. I have had a wonderful boyfriend for the last 2 years and hope someday to marry again. My ex-husband despises my boyfriend and wants him to have nothing to do with the rest of the family. My ex is currently living with his mother, and when my son visits, she takes over completely. My ex takes no responsibility for the boy and expects his mother to rear him. Here's the problem. I want to have a birthday party for my son, but his grandmother insists on doing it her way and doesn't want my boyfriend to attend. How can I get grandma to back off? She is very set in her ways and I have learned not to cross her. Pennsylvania problem. Alright, so sometimes you get married with people that are very polite. Like this young lady seems to be very polite. And sometimes you have toxic in-laws. Like this grandmother apparently has such a strong opinion, intolerant and things like that. That maybe she's toxic. Who knows? Maybe they all are. Here's what Dear Abby says, or Dear Ann Landers. Since you are certain that grandma is not going to back off, plan your own party. Then phone the mothers of the guests and tell them absolutely no gifts. That should do it. But I don't understand that one. No gifts? Why? Because the same mothers of the guests, the same mother of the other children, friends, are going to go to the mother-in-law's birthday party, and they're going to bring gifts there. I don't get that part. Anyway, what I wanted to mention was that sometimes you are the boyfriend, and like this young man that worked at McDonald's, he got fired, so he moved out, and he lives with his mom again. But for Christmas, his girlfriend, the day after Christmas, dumped him. And apparently she gave him the reason, that the reason is she's going to go back to her previous boyfriend / the father of the child that's 2 years old, or maybe 4 years old, I don't know. And so this young man was telling me how, since he doesn't have any kids, he's going to miss that boy. And I'm thinking, that boy probably spent more time with this boyfriend of the mother than he spent with his own dad. The world is messed up in the sense that there won't be any attachment, you know. In my personality, they've said, doctors, and even myself, I thought about this. All right, so my caregivers when my first 7 years were my grandparents, and they didn't talk to me. They were both alcoholics, not drunk on the floor, but grandma with her chain smoking cigarettes, and grandpa with his cigarettes, and I was happy because I could play with the dog. And every time I cried, they would buy me at the store, they would buy me a little car. Then I'd come home and I'd smash the little car. Don't do that when you're a grown-up, because that's how I got Baker acted. I smashed for educational reasons. I hit with my baseball bat. I hit the car, just to explain to the spouse that every time she yells at me, I don't like it. Just like the car, pretending, I had to explain to the doctors later, no, pretending that the car has feelings. I hit the car and the car wouldn't like it. So when you see those 9 indentations in the car door, you would be reminded that the car doesn't like to be hit and your husband does not like to get yelled at. But that didn't work. That only got me Baker acted, because the doctor said, if you're going to hit the car, that means you're going to hit her next. No, I will not hit the spouse next, because one, that's illegal, and I would go to jail for doing that. Two, I do love her. It's just that she's so oppositional. For instance, yelling. I said, men don't talk like that to each other. If they would, one of them would be dead. You know, they just don't yell at each other like that. But some women like to yell. Then my grandpa told me, oh, that's called menopause. I went through that with your grandmother. Now, he told me this when I was 25 or something, and he was referring to my mother going through menopause. But then he told me that he always had a problem with his daughter, because even as a child she was very angry. He was also undemonstrative. He wouldn't give you a hug or talk to you. She said that my mother said that the only way my grandpa expressed love was by bringing her a candy. And then he would touch her on the shoulder one time, that was it, when he would come home. Or he would brush the back of her neck with her hair, things like that. One time. So, back to my story about age 7. So, like at age 7, I get brought to this country, and my grandmother comes on the airplane and she says, this is your mother. Nice to meet you. And my mom back then had her hair in I did remember her, but she looked different. She had her hair like the afros in Chicago, and she's got red hair back then. And my grandpa told my grandmother before we got on the airplane, when you get on the airplane, there are going to be some electric stairs. You just put one step on it, and the stairs will go up by themselves. And my grandmother said, ah. And sure enough, when we get to the airport in the United States, the stairs are electric. So my grandma's holding my brother and myself, and she's just standing there. And what happens next is, on the side, there were stairs for regular people, or the stairs that don't move. And we went, was it up or down? Yeah, we went on those stairs that don't move. Oh, but it was funny to see that. So this is about attachment. Children need stability. Now, what's his name in the one, Elohim, the one about the aliens, Rael and so on? He's the French car driver turned UFO. He mentions, he started his own religion, Raelians. He mentioned how one man or one boyfriend, he promoted sex, and that your children, they will see this man as your boyfriend, and then the next boyfriend, and then the next, and then the next, and that those will be good enough role models. Baloney. I want to be my son's role model, you know. As far as I will tell him stories that nobody else in the world will tell him. Like stories about girls that got away Why did they get away? Even my coworkers asked me, Daniel, what's happening with the dates? I said, well, I don't know. I called her 3 times after the date, but she hasn't returned any of my calls. And then he asked me, he said, Daniel, did you hold hands? I said, no. Did you kiss her? No. Did you try to kiss her? No. So what did you do? We went to dinner and then we went to walk on the beach. Was the moon out? Yes, it was beautiful. And then what? Oh, then we talked for a while. Then I took her home. And when did you make your move? Tell me about that part. I didn't. See, Daniel, that's what's wrong with being a gentleman. If you don't make your move, the girl probably thinks you're a homosexual or something. So, girls do. I've missed many opportunities, but the way I looked at it all the time, I was marriage minded. I said, well, there'll be time enough to do that when we get married. And that doesn't work. Once you get married, it's some women, they stop being girlfriend completely and they just become mother. And by being mom, they don't. Saturday morning, it's not about spending it in bed, and not even for the first 2 hours when you wake up. It's all or making love. It's all about making pancakes and going shopping. It's a different. Everybody has a different plan for their life. So now, the best advice I can give young men is not to get married, live on their own, before they get Baker acted for kicking a door. You know, even if you own the house, I mean, if anybody there lives with you, don't even cuss, don't even say one swear word, you know, and don't go to marriage counseling, because the therapist there, they'll say, oh, he's bipolar and he yeah, let's Baker act him, you know. If they can label you, then right after that they want to throw pills at you and they want you to go to more the hospital where they don't let you out, you know, the hospital jail. And it's really just because you have your own opinion of what you think a family should be. Like, I still believe that if your spouse goes to work and she comes home at 7 p.m. and she has dinner and then she locks herself in her room until 11 p.m. at night watching Spanish novellas, I think that's wrong. I think that's trying to mess up my marriage, you know? That's my opinion. Enjoy.